In 1900, a man named Henry Royce bought a French car, drove it twice, and decided he could build a better one. He was right. 120 years later, the company he started makes roughly 5,000 cars a year by hand in a village in England and has a waiting list for cars that do not officially have a price. Let's get into it. Level 1. The Ghost. The Ghost is described by Rolls-Royce as the entry point. They use that phrase with a completely straight face for a car that starts at around $370,000. This is the smallest, lightest, most driver-focused Rolls-Royce in the current lineup. 6.7-liter twin-turbo V12, 563 horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. Here is the thing about the Ghost that makes it interesting. It is the one Rolls-Royce where the driver is still the point. The engineers call it post-opulent, which is the most expensive way a car company has ever said they deliberately made something quieter about its own wealth. The buyer is the founder who earned his exit, but not his visibility yet. He drives himself. He parks it. He is not ready to hand the wheel to someone else, and he is not sure he ever will be. The Ghost suits him. It is the first rung of a ladder he does not yet know goes this far up, and $370,000 is the last time a Rolls-Royce price will feel like a number you could actually visualize. Level 2. The Cullinan. The Cullinan is named after the largest gem-quality diamond ever found. That is not an accident. Nothing about a Rolls-Royce is. It starts at around $432,000, twin-turbo V12, all-wheel drive, and a ride quality so absorbent that Rolls-Royce built a glass partition between the cargo area and the cabin specifically, so occupants could not hear their own luggage. The cabin is quieter than a library, quieter than most offices. Some versions are quieter than the ambient noise inside an anechoic chamber, which is a room scientists use to study silence. Rolls-Royce built a car that competes with that room, and then put cup holders in it. The buyer at this level is not here for the performance. He is here because the G-Wagon told everyone where he was, and he has decided that is no longer what he wants. The Cullinan says the same thing in a lower voice. The people who matter still hear it. The Black Badge version sits on darker chrome and gets a power bump. It is for people who want the Cullinan, but found the standard version a little too polite. That sentence is real, and there are people who mean it. Level 3. The Spectre. In 2024, Rolls-Royce released its first fully electric car. They called it the Spectre. It starts at around $398,000 and produces 577 horsepower from 2 electric motors, reaching 60 miles per hour in 4.4 seconds. The interesting question was whether Rolls-Royce could build an electric car without losing the thing that makes a Rolls-Royce feel like a Rolls-Royce, which is the sensation of traveling through space in a room that has decided not to let the outside world participate. The answer is yes. Rolls-Royce did not compromise anything. They removed the last remaining piece of evidence that a mechanical event was taking place. The buyer here is 41, made his money in technology, and has never once considered himself a car person. He bought the Spectre because it is the most considered object in a category he respects, and because arriving without engine noise turns out to be a very specific kind of statement. He will not be able to explain it fully, but he will try. From here, the cars stop changing, and the level of personalization begins. Level 4. The Phantom. The Phantom is the flagship. It has been the flagship since 1925. It starts at around $528,000. The extended version adds 9 inches of wheelbase, which is a number that sounds modest until you are sitting in the back of one on a highway and realize the world outside has become somewhat optional. There is a panoramic ceiling called the Gallery of Dreams. It is glass. It holds things. One owner had it set with more than 1,000 individually placed diamonds. The ceiling of the car. Diamonds. He presumably cleared this with someone. Here is the key insight at this level. The Phantom is not a better car than the Ghost in any way a stopwatch cares about. The Ghost is faster. The Phantom is not trying to be fast. The Phantom is trying to communicate that speed is a concern for people who have somewhere they need to be at a specific time. The buyer is the CFO of something very large. His calendar is managed by two people, and his car is managed by a third. He has not opened a door himself in quite some time, and that is considered normal. And this is where the lineup ends. 4 models, all extraordinary, all hand-built, all in that $500,000 neighborhood. Most people watching this assumed Rolls-Royce stopped there. It does not stop there. What comes next is not a car you configure. It is a conversation you are invited to have, and only if Rolls-Royce decides you are the right person to have it. Level 5. Bespoke. Every Rolls-Royce is bespoke. That sentence is true and almost completely meaningless, because what it means at level 4 is that you chose the stitching color. At level 5, you are working directly with the bespoke team at Goodwood. Not a configurator, not a dealer. The designers, the artisans, the people who, in 2024, produced a single car with a solid 18-karat gold sculpture built into the dashboard and another with over 869,000 individual embroidery stitches in the headliner. That is not a typo. 869,000 stitches in one car for one person. The starting point for a proper bespoke commission is typically reported to begin well above the standard list price and climbs quickly from there depending on what you ask for. There is no ceiling on the configurator because there is no configurator. You sit across from someone and describe what you want, and they tell you whether it is possible. The answer is usually yes, and the answer usually takes somewhere between 6 months and 2 years. The buyer here is not buying a car. He is commissioning an object, something that reflects the interior of his life, the way a painting reflects the interior of a mind. Level 6. Coachbuild. Above Bespoke is a place that has no price list and no public application process. It is called Coachbuild, and it is an invitation-only program where Rolls-Royce will, in collaboration with a single client over several years, build a car that shares almost nothing with any car they have sold before. Not a variant, not a special edition. An entirely original motor car, designed from a concept, engineered from principle, built by hand, and owned by one person on Earth. The Boattail was the first modern coach build. 3 were made. Grapevine pricing was reportedly around $28 million each. The rear deck opens in a butterfly formation to reveal a refrigerated champagne and caviar compartment built to the specific bottles the clients preferred. They did not ask what bottles the clients preferred after the fact. They designed the compartment around the answer. Then came the drop tail. 4 will be made. The first, called La Rose Noire, is reported to have cost somewhere north of $30 million, making it the most expensive new car ever sold at the time of its commission. The dashboard holds a bespoke Audemars Piguet watch that detaches and can be worn. Not included with the watch brand's permission. Designed in collaboration. Level 7. Whispers. The last level is not a car at all. Rolls-Royce operates a members-only application called Whispers. It is available only to people who already own a Goodwood-era Rolls-Royce. You cannot apply. You cannot pay to join. Ownership is the prerequisite, and the invitation arrives from the company. It is the part of Rolls-Royce ownership that has nothing to do with the car. It is the recognition that the car was the membership fee. The actual product was always the room you walked into afterward. In 2024, Whispers membership grew by 55%, which means the room is growing and Rolls-Royce is building a bigger one. Here is the number that makes everything else make sense. Rolls-Royce builds roughly 5,000 cars a year. Toyota builds more than that every 3 hours, Everything Rolls-Royce is, every level of it, is built on the decision to never change that ratio.